Frank Ragnow of your Detroit Lions. You are now tuning into the official new hotness, the One Pride podcast presented by ISN. This is your source for all Detroit Lions news, rumors, pre- and post-game day breakdowns. Go Lions.
What is going on, YouTube? This is Mr. MicroMike, where we talk all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, breakdown, analysis, and everything regarding our franchise. And today it is Thursday, the One Pride podcast day, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr. Antonio Hightower. How's it going, Antonio Hightower?
What's up? I'm having a good day. What's going on, guys? I had to come on this Thursday.
Hey, I appreciate it. And we got some people in the chat here. We got SportsCon89, John Kapler. Love the avatar. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. We got Ty Walker. What's going on, Ty? And we got Brandy M. Hodges, One Pride Nation. He's a Lions YouTuber as well. And I'm sure people will slowly get in there. If you want to shout out, just let me know, and we will get that thing going. So, for today's show, we're going to talk about some news right now, and one of the news was Jayron Kearse was released, Antonio Hightower. What do you think about that?
When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, man, I don't see why he was released. But then, I heard he had broke team rules, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna say, well, he wasn't playing bad. Mm-hmm. He was on a 1-year contract, I think. He's not taking, even if he wasn't, he's not taking up any money.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, he broke team rules and he left the team hotel without permission. It was late. I was like, oh, okay. See, that's okay, yeah. Because the NFL, they're not playing about none of that COVID right now.
Like him missing time was definitely an oh my God moment. What's going on, Cheryl Hindenburg? Ty Walker, he says, go Chiefs. Joseph Murdoch, what's going on? Looking forward to the end of the season. So you think it was because he was missing time, and you think that's justified?
Oh, yes. Because if you break team rules, especially if you're not, like, let's say Matthew Stafford broke team rules, which he probably wouldn't. Mm-hmm. You probably go like, you can't do that, Matthew. But he's your franchise quarterback. He's one of your best players. You just go like, you know what? Just make sure you don't do that again. Now, when you're like lower on the totem pole, you break team rules, you like to practice, and you're already not a big piece to the puzzle. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you kind of got to get cut for that. You got to lay down the hammer.
Yeah, you got to do that for sure. Look, you got to do what you're told. You can't be late for meetings. You got to be able to be on time. What is going on with people? If you're a professional, even though the season's over, you got to be on time, and that includes you, Jayron Kearse, and our season is in a lot of world of hurt right now. And a lot of people were upset that he was released. Personally, I did not really care because guess what? He was probably going to get released right after this game. And so is a lot of people getting released, folks. We're going to have a whole new looking team, I think, here coming in a few weeks. Who else do you think is going to get released, Antonio Hightower? I'm curious.
I don't know if there's anybody else that really will get released soon. I know there's a bunch of players who probably won't come back. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if there's anybody else that could get released. I mean, I would say Jarrad Davis, but they would just probably let him go. I mean, his contract's going to end up. There would be no point of cutting him now. You can just let him go. I don't see anybody else I can see. I can't think of anybody else I would see getting released in the near future.
Who do you think that they're not going to take back? What players do you have an eye on that has been Detroit Lions that they're not going to return?
I don't know if they're going to bring back Marvin Jones. I know Marvin Jones had a really good relationship with the organization. For people who didn't know, one of the reasons that Marvin Jones actually decided to opt in this season was because of the protocols that Bob Quinn had laid in place related to the COVID. Because if you notice, the Lions didn't have many problems with COVID, especially when the season started. And they had confidence in him. That was one of the reasons. So he's had a good relationship with the organization, but the Lions are in a phase right now where they're not really – they shouldn't be trying to win. Now, I don't know if they're going to try to win, but they shouldn't be trying to win. Mm-hmm. And if they do, they're probably not going to be that successful. And, he's at a point where he hasn't really accomplished much in his career. He's been a really good player, but he's played for the Bengals and he's played for the Lions.
Okay.
He hasn't had any big team accolades. I don't even think he has a playoff win yet. So he might try to go to a better team that's in need of a wide receiver. He might. I think he's leaving. Also, I already know Jared Davis is probably leaving too. I think Romeo will get a new contract. Everson Griffin is definitely leaving.
Oh, okay. You think EG is gone?
I think EG is gone. EG went to Dallas because he thought they was a contender, which is why he probably took that discount. He came to Detroit thinking, you know what, maybe I could just be on a playoff team. I think he's gonna try to go to another contender to get, a ring, or especially a team that needs some help, maybe like Seattle. They need some pass rushing help. But yeah, I think they're gone. I don't think I think Harmon is gone too, because I'm pretty sure I'm 99% sure Harmon doesn't have a new contract. So unless the Lions try to sign him to a new contract, which they could, because he is a leader. He was calling out players early in the season. That's something you'd want, especially from a veteran. It's part of that Patriot way they were trying to bring in, accountability. I don't know if he would come back, but that's about all I can think about. I think Kenny Galladay is going to come back. I think they're just going to franchise tag him.
Okay. Hey, folks, if you've seen that you lost a wrench, don't worry. Don't take it personal. 95% of everybody lost a wrench. I had to reduce it down, even members of ISN. It's one of those things where it had to be done. Remember, I am a partner of Chat Sports, and I had to do that. So what about Kerriyon Johnson?
I think Kerrion's actually signed for next year, if I'm not mistaken. When I checked before, Kerriyon Johnson he's signed for one more year.
Okay. I don't think he's going to be a Detroit Lion, man. I think that Kerriyon Johnson's gone. I think this is his last game this Sunday. And I don't want him here anymore. I'm not going to lie. Oh, my God. I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not a fan of him anymore. Are you? Are you a fan of Kerriyon?
I like Kerriyon. My thing with Kerriyon is I think he has a role in his team, but I just don't think they really put him in the role that he like. I think some of the touches that they've been giving AP, I think they should have gave to Kerriyon. Okay. I'm like, because I think they was like, AP looks so good in the Bears game. Let's just keep force feeding him, and then at some point it's like, well, now you're giving him the ball too much, and he's like, you already gave Swift starting. Like I think at some point they started relying on too much. I think they started thinking it was 2012 or something, Okay. But I think some of the carries that Kerriyon should have had that. I also think they could have used Kerriyon more as a passer, as a pass catcher, even though Swift offers that. You can also run some two running back sets with Kerriyon and Swift, considering that Kerryon's a bigger back. He can block a little bit, and they're both, dynamic pass catchers. I do think his injuries has hurt his impact on the field, though, because he doesn't look as explosive. He doesn't look as athletic as he used to be. Yeah. And he was never an insane athlete, but he was like really explosive. He didn't have top speed, but he had burst. Burst that type of burst that would just mess up pursuit angles. That even if he was a 4.5 guy, but he gets to that 4.5 real quick. And I think part of that, he's lost some of that with his injuries. Who knows? Maybe he can come after that. But yeah, I think it's at this point both teams should should move on. He should go to a new team. Yeah. Maybe see if he can, resurrect his career a little bit, and the Lions should move on because you already have I think AP already said he wants to come back, and you got Swift.
Swifty Swift, man. We need to keep Swift. I want him to have majority of the carries. Less carries for him, the less happy that I am. Folks, if you've not done so, and right now we got 27 in the chat with only 15 thumbs up. Let's get 27 thumbs up. That would be fantastic. Again, if you've heard me say this a billion times, the more likes you get, the more chance that this live stream will actually get pushed out to the folks out there on YouTube. Going against the legacy media. They are a juggernaut, and I am just one guy. Let's switch it up a little bit here. 3 Detroit Lions made the Pro Bowl. What's going on, Jorge? What do you think about this? We got Jack Fox, TJ Hawkinson making the Pro Bowl. What do you think about this?
Jack Fox. First of all, I remember using the draft, and a lot of some, we was all like, "Oh, who's gonna replace Sam Martin?"
Yep.
Maybe the Lions just have a thing for finding punters, because maybe the Lions just have a thing for finding special team people in general. Because I remember the Lions a couple years ago, they found a kicker. They had to let him go. It turned out he was good. He ended up being a starting kicker on another team. You got Sam Martin, let him go. We was like, oh, Sam Martin's a good punter. End up with Jack Fox, who may be the best punter in the league as a rookie. It's like, man, TJ Hawkinson. A lot of people was like, well, his first year, they was like, well, he didn't do that much. I'm like, hey, they didn't do that much. They didn't do a great job getting him involved, which they still could do a better job of getting him involved. Maybe hiring Eric Bieniemy would be a great way to get him involved more. But one of the things, because Bieniemy, I think Bieniemy's example, like how you use tight ends, they use Kelsey in so many unique ways. They use all their players in so many unique ways. You'll see Tyreek Hill catching run snaps, or they'll throw tight end screens to Kelsey. I know the Lions do that sometimes, but they don't do it enough. But because the thing about TJ, well, think about tight ends in general. Most tight ends, they don't really break out to the second season, right? The majority of tight ends don't break out to the second season. So even when he's a rookie season, I was like, whoa, you need to let's calm down, because he's already young. That was his he's a young tight ends don't usually break out the second season, because when you're a tight end, you got responsible as a blocker and a receiver. So now you got to be responsible as a blocker and receiver. You got to learn how to run routes. There's a lot of things you got to get adjusted to at the NFL, especially because even when he looked great against Arizona, he had to get used to people focusing on him, because that next game against the Chargers, I think it was Rayshawn Jenkins, their safety. They put a safety on him the entire game. His second game in the NFL, they's like, we're going to put this guy on him. He watched him every single play, even in play action. Play action didn't work. He's like, nope, I'm not stopping. You're not catching no passes. I knew he would take a jump. He went as high as he did for a reason. He was very talented. Best tight end we've seen, best tight end we've seen in years. There's Pitts, but I don't know if he really counts as a tight end. But yeah, closest thing we've seen to like Gronk in a few years. But him making the Pro Bowl is not surprising to me. And the crazy thing is, I think he can get a lot better.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Break the tank as well.
Like I don't think he's anywhere near his true potential. I think he could be a better blocker. He could be he could be really good. And then let's not forget Ragnow. And we all knew Ragnow was going to make it this year. We knew he had to. Because Ragnow, you could argue Ragnow's the best center in the NFC right now. Or the NFL.
Yeah,
especially with Kelsey. Kelsey's injured. Frederick is gone. Who else would be a top center? There's the only other one really in the competition with him. There's Lindsley for the Packers. He's been amazing this year. There's also the dude for the Saints. Their starting center, Eric McCoy. He's also another amazing young talented center. But yeah, Ragnar's has been a monster all year. And he's been proven too, because we see him go against the top nose tackles even last year. Saw him go against Kenny Clark. We've seen him against Chris Jones. We've seen him against Frank Cox. We've seen him against the top tackles, the top DTs. We might even see him against Damon Harrison in the future. But he's just a monster,
Yeah, the most definitely. And there's a question by Jorge. There's no GM president. I think you talk about releasing players. That would be by none other than our new assistant to the president and CEO, whatever you want to call it. That will be his job right now. Until we get a GM, that's who's going to be doing that for the Detroit Lions. I'm happy for Jack Fox, no doubt about it. Jack Fox, well-deserved to get into the Pro Bowl. I didn't think they would actually look his way, but my God, they finally did. The guy came out of nowhere, great player to have. Frank the Tank Ragnow, well-deserved. The guy's a tank, no doubt about it. Best center in the NFC, like you said, could be the best in the NFL. And you got TJ Hockenson. It is looking bright for him. So well-deserved for all those three guys for this horrible season. But let's talk about some rumors that's been flying around, and that is Urban Meyer may be sought after by the Detroit Lions. We heard that Urban Meyer has been approached by a handful of teams about becoming a head coach, and he's going to make it his decision, I believe, next week that if he wants to pursue a job. One of the teams that they're talking about is none other than the Detroit Lions. What do you think about Urban Meyer, Antonio Hightower?
I mean, firstly, I don't think he'd want to come here because I remember even when he retired, first thing I remind said, the Dallas Cowboys hit me up. I think about coming back to the NFL. I'll think about coming to the NFL. Dallas Cowboys hit me up, but even as accomplished as Urban Meyer is, on my head coaching candidates totem pole, he'd probably be lower on the list. He wouldn't crack the top 3. Okay. He probably wouldn't crack the top 5 of guys I'd be trying to look at. Urban Meyer, I have questions about how he was succeeded in the NFL because as good as how good is he had Ohio State running. Ohio State's still been great even as he left.
No doubt about it. And when it comes to Urban Meyer, my number one choice, folks, is Robert Saleh. In my opinion, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. But I have no problem with the Lions trying to interview everybody, including Urban Meyer. Why not just see if he would be interested? There's no problem in requesting that, in my opinion. And for the fact that the Detroit Lions do not have a general manager, I have no problem with them having a conversation. I still think you got to hire the GM first, then the head coach, and do it the proper way via chain of command. That's the way I want to do it. But let me know in the comments section, what do you guys think? Do you think that the Detroit Lions should interview Urban Meyer for the head coaching job? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think about Robert Saleh, Antonio Hightower?
Here's my thing. The NFL is starting, if anybody doesn't know, the NFL is starting to go the way of offensive head coaches for a few reasons. Two of the biggest reasons is right now in football, offense is the new king right now. Offense at the moment is the thing that wins games. That don't mean defense doesn't matter, but it's hard to win games if you got a great defense and a bad offense versus a great offense and a bad defense. A great offense will get you farther. Even the top, even guys like Nick Saban, one of the best coaches in the college football. Defense has been his calling card for years. He even admitted, surprisingly, a couple months ago, offense is it now. The offense is the new way to win now. Not only that, because if you hire an offensive coordinator as your head coach, you have the ability to keep him. Because the example would be the Falcons. You had Dan Quinn as your head coach, defensive coordinator, former from Seattle. But offensive coordinator, you have Kyle Shanahan, right? You had Matt Ryan, had an MVP season, Offense looks amazing. But Kyle Shanahan is now a head coaching candidate. And you don't have that problem. And now Matt Ryan loses his offensive coordinator and your offense is suffering. You don't have that problem with if you have an offensive head coach because you keep the same coach, but not only that, you keep your QB has the same coach. Especially if we're gonna draft a QB, you'd probably, in the best scenario, you'd want him to have the same offensive coordinator. You don't want him to keep switching offensive coordinators like we did with Stafford. You want him to have the same guy, and that's one of the So I'm kind of I'd rather hire an offensive guy. I think Saleh would be a good sire. I think he's kind of like McDermott for the Bills. Probably not as great. I don't know how. Because the thing about him, I also have questions about his defense. His defense wasn't that great until he got that amazing defensive line. And Kerriyon came in and tweaked some things because at the beginning, he just kind of he came into the 49ers like, well, got Richard Sherman. I came from Seattle. I'm just going to run the Seattle defense. And it didn't work out well. So I have questions about that. Clearly the players like him, But I would just, at this point, I would prefer an offensive coach. So But I would, even if we got him, I'd still be okay with that. I just think it limits our ceiling as a team.
You know, when I think of offensive versus defensive coach, personally, I don't care which one. I just want to get the best man for the job, the person that's going to take this team. When I'm looking at a head coach, I'm not looking at, his intellectual smarts, his educational background. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at one thing immediately right off the bat. Is this person a leader? Is this person able to lead this team to the lights that we needed to, because we've sucked for so long? Folks, we have our special guest is on, and I'm really excited to introduce you to him, to the YouTube world. And this is none other than Kofi. Kofi is a Chicago Bears fan, folks, but he is a good friend of mine, and I really appreciate him jumping on with us. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing, MicroMike? What's going on?
Hey, doing great, man. Folks, you got to subscribe to his channel. I will put the link in the description. Yes, he's a Bears fan, folks. I know that.
That's right. I got my Bears jersey too. I got the Gale Sayers because I know on Sunday they're gonna honor Gale Sayers on Sunday. So I'm wearing this jersey in honor of him.
And he is going to be doing some Chicago Bears content on his channel. Weeks. Talk to the folks and tell them what your channel is all about.
All right. So basically everybody, my name is Kofi Oheme. Basically I just started up a YouTube channel just recently. And I just started making like a lot of Bears content. I don't only make a Bears content, but I make like a lot of Chicago sports content. I talk about Bulls, I talk about Chicago Cubs, White Sox, everything Chicago sports content. And just go out and sub to my channel. I talk I do like some trash talking. I did a last video where I was trash talking Green Bay. And I'm also trying to make a hype video for the Chicago Bears versus Packers. I'm just learning how to do it. So just go out and check my channel. I'm going to change my channel name to KO Sports Talk. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to have a lot of Bears content coming up. So
Absolutely. And we appreciate him jumping on here, even though he's a Chicago Bears fan. But here in ISN, we like to have a big amount of clarity regarding all the channels. So when you get your channel link, just throw that in the chat and I will pin the comment for you. We're going to go ahead now and transition to the Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. We have some matchups. We got to pay attention to their Mr. Antonio Hightower. What's a key matchup that you are looking forward to?
A key matchup is really just Mr. Trubisky. What? Oh, wait. What did you say again?
Key matchup for the Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. We're not playing Chicago.
Oh, I don't know why I thought we was playing Chicago. I forgot they're playing the Packers. I keep forgetting they're playing the Packers.
we're playing the Packers.
Kirk Cousins, because man, Kirk Cousins has been killing it lately. He's been looking nice, and our defense is what can you say that's positive about this defense? Nothing. Especially with Matthew Stafford out, offense is probably not going to be as well. So, man, I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a field day. I think it'll be interesting to see how he does, but man, I think they're just going to dominate on offense.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in a world of hurt here. Kofi, now you're an outsider. You're not a Lions fan. What would be a key matchup that you would be looking forward to for the Detroit Lions versus Minnesota Vikings? And we're talking about defense of the Lions versus the Vikings offense.
Yeah, for sure. So I know Dalvin Cook is going to be out of this game because of family reasons. But pretty much you got to stop Minnesota's playmakers, particularly Justin Jefferson, because I know Justin Jefferson. I know last time when he was playing the Bears, man, he had I think 10 catches for over 100 yards. So I know that Kirk Cousins, he's going to be getting the ball out early and often to Justin Jefferson. And like I always said, when you're always trying to establish a passing game, you always have to establish a run game. So Detroit, they have to also stop Minnesota's run game, because when you open up, like with any team, when you open up a run game, the passing game opens up. So the key is to stop Justin Jefferson, double team Justin Jefferson, and to like stop the run game. And when you do that, you pretty much make Kirk Cousins one dimensional. And yeah, it's not good.
Folks, and also in about 15 minutes, we're going to be going to you for a mailbag segment. You can ask any of us a question. You can ask me a question. You can ask her Kofi here a question. Doesn't have to be Lions. We go to anything on there. So it could be Chicago Bears related. I know we got a lot of Bears subscribers, so we will do that. Yeah, I'm looking at you. We got to – let's be honest here. Lions ain't going to stop nothing on Sunday. We definitely are not going to stop the
any given Sunday. They're professionals. I mean, whatever. I mean, I remember like I always played sports, and it's always like the next man up mentality. So it doesn't matter if you're undrafted or like you're top rookie. Like let's look at us for our example. We have 2 undrafted offensive tackle. We have Sam Mustipher, who was undrafted from Notre Dame, and we have Alex Bars. Those guys were undrafted, but when we inserted them into the lineup, like it pretty much completely changed our offensive game. So I mean, with any player, I mean, I know Detroit, they don't have too many good defensive players, but you never know what you have on your bench, So I'm
with you, man.
Yeah,
Go to the bench. Go to the bench. Why not?
I mean, if I was their head coach, I mean, I would be fired up. I'll do like what Robert Saleh does to San Francisco. I know Robert Saleh, man, that guy is a really great head coach for San Francisco 49ers. If you guys get him, man, watch out. But like if I was a head coach for the Detroit Lions, I would like pretty much be like next man up mentality. If you're freaking loafing on defense, if you're not hustling, giving your 100% on defense, I'm seeing you on the bench, and it's always about 100%, because everything starts from up top. It starts from the ownership down all the way down to the players. And if the coaching is not emphasizing hard work ethic, then you're gonna have those players who are not gonna give 100%, and it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good.
It's not going to be good at all, and I think that's extremely important. If the current players on there are not working, like a Tavai, like a Jared Davis, like a Christian Jones, play Jalen Reeves-Maybin, play Miles Philippou, play somebody that can at least make a stop. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I think a lot of Lions fans, and I'm curious to see in the chat, do you want the Lions to win this game? Do you? Let me know, because if we win, we're going to fall back in the draft, Antonio Hightower. Do you want us to win on Sunday? Antonio Hightower.
Oh, sorry. I have my mic low. No. I was saying no. Do not want us to win. Do not win. Please do not win. I want a good pick. I want a good pick for a couple years now. Do not win, so we can get a quarterback. And maybe trade Matthew Stafford.
And trade Matthew Stafford out of the NFC North. We're not going to trade him to Chicago, though. That's for sure. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We can't do that. Look, when it comes to the Detroit Lions on Sunday, I'm not going to lie, folks. I want to take that L. I don't want to be screwed. I am ready to get a quarterback of the future, such as a Trey Lance. And I would like to have the guy to help this franchise out. Avatar, what's going on? What's going on, Grid? I know he wants to win. If you're a Lions fan, Kofi, and you're not, do you want the Lions to win or lose?
I want them to lose if I were you guys, to be honest. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, Matthew Stafford, he's a great quarterback. I mean, that guy is like a trooper, man. He's a soldier out there. Those injuries that he's had, like with his What kind of injury did he have? I have no phone.
Everything. He's got a thumb. He's got
Yeah,
ribs. He's got
thumb.
shoulders.
Right.
He's got ankle.
Pretty much everything in his body. But I remember I saw this one game where he injured his shoulder. I think it was against the Browns or something, if I'm not mistaken. And they were close to the goal line. I remember he was talking to the coach. He's like, "Coach, I want to go back in there. I want to go back in there. I'm fine. I'm fine." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So he went back in there, and then he threw like a touchdown pass towards the end zone, and then that was it. I'm like, "Wow, man." I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's a good QB, but he's not the right QB for this system, not for this Detroit system. But yeah, if I were you guys, yeah, I would definitely go and get a quarterback in the draft, possibly like a Trey Lance or a Zach Wilson, because those are some really solid quarterbacks. I know, like with Trey Lance, there's his freshman season, he had like 42 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, 42 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Yeah, that's how pretty good he is. So, yeah, like I would try to get him, but the thing is with him is that he's pretty raw, and he's only had 1 year of experience in college, so that's going to be pretty tricky, and they haven't been playing at all this year. So I would that would be like your risky pick, or you can get Zach Wilson, who has many years, like he's had at least 3 years of experience. That guy is pretty solid. Some people compare him to Aaron Rodgers, like the way he throws the ball, the way he slings it. Yeah. So I've seen some of his games. But the thing about him, like he hasn't been playing like up to like top tier competition. So that's yet to be seen. But like we'll see come this draft, if they're not taken off the draft board, I would draft one of those two guys.
And folks, this is Kofi. It's going to be KO Sports Talk, and the link is in the pinned comment. He had 14 subscribers because he just started. I want to see him get to 30. So if you are not a subscriber of his, just click on there. He's going to be doing a lot of content, and we're going to be having a lot of fun on here. He's a Chicago Bears guy, but he's also an NFL guy. He's also an MLB guy. He's also everything. He's everything, Sports man. Talk, and that's what we are. Talk. Cruise 26. He says,
I got the Bulls in
he got the Bulls. He's going there. He says, are you guys going wide receiver? My Giants need Smith. First off, thank you so much for the super chat. God bless. I appreciate you. No, I do not believe we're going wide receiver at all. I don't even think that's not even right now the top 4 of what I'm looking for. It's quarterback, defense. So I think that we could take a wide receiver maybe in the first round, but we got to go all defense. Antonio Hightower.
Got to work on that defense. Yep.
We got to work on that defense, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You got to work on the defensive line. There was this one other guy from Miami. I forget his name. I think his name was Rousseau from Miami. That guy is a beast, man. Yes. I seen some of his play. Like he can get off like just the line. He can like he has like this move where he just jumps up and like he twists his arms up and like he's able to get to like the quarterback real quickly. That guy, he's really good. Rousseau from Miami. I don't remember his first name, but I know he's a really good edge rusher.
Yes.
But yeah, y'all got to work on your defensive line first because you can't get no pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, we need pressure for sure. Antonio Hightower, what say you, man? What do we got to go with this deep? When should we take a wide receiver? I do think we need to take one, but in the later rounds, 4th or 5th round. What say you? Do we need to get linebackers, defensive ends, quarterback?
I mean, there's going to be a lot of wide receivers in this draft. Now, I think it also depends where you are. If you beat the Minnesota Vikings, where do you rank? Where does Lance and Wilson go? Where does Fields go? Because his stock is kind of going down. He didn't look good against the 2 ranked teams he played. He didn't look that good against them. How good does he look against Clemson? If he has another bad game against another top team, his stock is going to go like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe this guy just looks good because he's beating up on top. So, yeah, there's that. But there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft.
Yeah.
What you get for Stafford, too. If you get a first for Stafford, then maybe a wide receiver comes into the fray. Because there's a lot of wide receivers, it's going to be a lot of guys going in the second, third, like Kadarius Toney. There's a guy from There's another guy, I forget his name. He's always injured though, but very talented guy. I forget his name. But there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft. It really depends on what do you get in trades, where do you land in the draft, and who's on the board from where you get.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Everybody right now would probably want a QB.
Anthony says, Mike, read my comment. He says, if you guys decide to draft a quarterback this year, will you trade up with the Dolphins to the number 3, and would you guys give them for the number 3 pick? We're not going to be trading up. Why? We only got 5 draft picks. We literally got screwed when it comes to our former GM and head coach regarding the draft. I think that if we lose, we can move all the way up to the number 3 pick anyways this Sunday. So we may not have to, but I think that Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or Trey Lance will be there for us wherever we pick, whether we stay at 7, 8, or 5 or 6. I think that we're going to have a chance to get one of those guys anyways. We don't need to trade up, in my opinion. We don't got the capital to do it, unfortunately, and that's terrible. What do you think of Kyle Trask there, Kofi? He had a bad game last night.
I think Kyle Trask, I think he's serviceable. I mean, he doesn't really have a strong arm like a Zach Wilson or like a Trey Lance. His arm is not that strong, but I think he's a pretty solid quarterback, especially with that security blanket that he has with Kyle Pitts or Kylie Pitts, whoever his name is, from also in Miami, who's also going to be a really good wide receiver. But like with Kyle Trask, I mean, I'm kind of like iffy on him, It's just that he's like average. He has an average arm, but I think he just needs a lot of work. I mean, he's very accurate with his passes, but it's just he doesn't have like a deep arm, and he's not as mobile as the other quarterbacks that I talked about.
When it comes to Kyle Trask, I never was really high on this guy, and it affirmed my belief that this guy is not worthy of the first round. Pitts is definitely a tight end. He's not worthy of the first round, in my opinion. He may fall probably to the 3rd round with the really bad performance he did last night. To me, I feel like he's a system guy.
He's a system player.
Antonio Hightower, what do you think of Trask?
Here's the thing about Trask. Trask, he has a big arm, but he's not mobile. And in the Oklahoma game, kind of got exposed for the fact, when you don't have Kadarius Toney, your best wide receiver, you have Kyle Pitts. When you don't have Kyle Pitts, your best tight end, if you want to call him a tight end, he didn't look that great, right? So it's how highly are we going to draft a guy who I think he's in a range of guys who can be really good if you put the weapons around him, but can't elevate the weapons around him, right? And I think that's what Trask is. I think a lot of people, tall, not that athletic, has a big arm. So
trying to say Brock Osweiler?
somebody said Nick Foles.
Some people compare him to what's his name from Cincinnati, Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow's more he's more mobile than him.
I'm saying Joe Burrow is a way better athlete. And he's way more accurate. He's just better.
Some people are comparing him to him.
Yeah, I compare him a little bit, not in height and stature, but it reminds me of a Colt McCoy.
Right.
like he can do fine if he has a billion weapons around him and he is just there to manage a great defensive team. I guess, kind of like the Reds. Or the Washington football team, sorry, not the Redskins. Former Redskins, Washington football team. That's, in my opinion, folks. We're just going to go ahead and jump to Q&A right now. So if you got a question, we may have answers. And we're going to get to this one from Nathan. He says, what about Joe Brady for Lions head coach?
Yes.
What do you think about Joe Brady, Antonio Hightower?
Joe Brady is a monster. He's one of the reasons that he's such a great offensive coordinator that he may be a head coaching candidate in year one. Next year, he is 100% going if he's not going this offseason.
Okay.
He's an amazing offensive coordinator. He think about it like this. He went from nobody to pass game coordinator at LSU to NFL offensive coordinator to maybe head coach 3 years. That tell you what the NFL thinks about him. Not only that, he's very talented. He could be like Kyle Shanahan, the dude Sean McVay type guys.
Yeah,
Like
Sean
one of
McVay,
these
yeah.
top offensive head coaches who can elevate not only the people around him, but your quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. Because, even when they lost Teddy Bridgewater, they still look good. He put in the back of quarterback, didn't skip a beat. He's like, well, you don't give me my starting quarterback, I can make it do what it do. So he might be my second or third favorite head coach candidate at this moment, other than Dable for the Bills and of course Bieniemy. But
yeah,
very talented offensive coordinator.
Travis,
I'll take him over Matt Nagy. I'll take him over Matt Nagy. To honestly tell you the truth.
Travis Doyle dropped $5 super chat. It says, what do you think about Arthur Smith, Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, head coach for the Lions, or another team's my dream coach? You talked about him the other day. I think it was last week. We need to look at this guy because this offense has done very good job there in Tennessee. He's really made sure that the quarterback Ryan Tannehill was put in a position to succeed. Came out of nowhere. Thank you so much for the super chat. God bless. But I think we should take a look at him. What do you? Well, okay, tell me why, Antonio Hightower, why you don't want to take a look.
Because basically the offense is Derrick Henry, which is a pretty good offense.
Yeah.
How many we going to get a new Derrick Henry?
But what about what he's done with Tannehill, who was I don't
know if they've done anything with Tannehill. Well, first of all, Tannehill was already talented. Tannehill had always showed flashes that he could be a good quarterback. Tannehill basically came in and did his job, right? He looked really good, but they don't ask a lot of Tannehill because you notice when the run game doesn't look, how does Tannehill look? Doesn't look that great. When the running game isn't working, when you ask him when it's longer third downs, when the Tennessee Titans are behind, Tannehill doesn't look that great. The pass game doesn't look that great. Why? Because not only they're not that built for it, but Arthur Smith doesn't have the best creativity as an offensive coordinator. So I don't think he's a bad offensive coordinator, but I think if you bring him here, I don't know if he's going to have the success he had in Tennessee unless you replicate what he has in Tennessee, a.k.a. draft Derrick Henry and get a really good offensive line. We got half the equation, but I don't know if we're going to find a Derrick Henry.
What doesn't look good is we need people to subscribe to Ko-fi. It's going to be KO Sports Talk. The link is literally my pinned comment. Click on that link, subscribe to his channel because we're going to help this man out, start his YouTube career, because it pretty much is. It's like a part-time job. Yep. And so make sure you subscribe to his channel. He does all sports, but he's going to be doing a lot of Chicago sports teams. So even if you're not a Lions fan, or even if you are a Lions fan, subscribe to his channel. He's a friend of the channel. So you got to make sure you do.
Especially you, Don Burr, wherever you at, man. You better subscribe.
Don Burr.
Don Burr.
What's going on, Roland G? Welcome. What's going on, Mars Landing? Hey, what's going on? Let's see. Robinson be on another team, or will he stay in Chicago? This is for you, Kofi.
Ooh, Robinson. I'll say this. If the Bears do not make the playoffs, I can see Robinson walking. But if they do, I'll say this. If the Bears beat the Packers, if they won at least one playoff game, I can see Robinson staying. I can definitely see Robinson staying. To honestly tell you the truth, if I answered your question.
I want Robinson to leave the NFC North. I'm not going to lie. I think he's very good against defenses. He says, I hope y'all get who you want. What about Smith as GM? I think they're definitely going to look at him for sure. No doubt about it. I think they're going to look at him. They got his interview. They've already interviewed some people, but go ahead and interview him. The season's going to be over. Then you can interview some of the folks that you want to see from teams that are not going to win, because this can make you guys look really stupid. I have no idea. What you're talking about, Mars.
Is he talking about the Bears? Who's he talking about?
With 3 coaches.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's about to destroy another coach. Okay, later. Well, look, we got to have a coach. You have to have someone. You can't not have a coach. So, yeah, they got to hire a coach. And I like Robert Saleh. That's my guy. But, folks, go ahead and throw some questions in there. How good would Stafford look in Tennessee? I think he would look pretty good. I think that's exactly kind of what Tannehill's doing right now. So
Yeah, he'll be the same as Tannehill, in my opinion. He would just run bootleg, bootleg passes, RPO, pretty much just like the same thing. The way Ryan Tannehill's running the same offense, like
Yeah.
be the same thing.
Now, this is not a question, but I actually agree with this. Says we're going to lose next year. There's no fault. I'm not going to give anybody false hope that this team's going to turn this around. We have 5 draft picks you built through the draft, and you must have the capital to get players that are of need. And right now, our defense is depleted of a quality roster. We need probably 2 linebackers off the rip. You need to get some more defensive line help, defensive tackle, defensive end, and probably another safety. And guess what? We have 5 draft picks. It's not going to be able to turn it around that quick. So, no, I'm not going to give anybody false hope to assume we're going to be a good football team next year. I think that would be ludicrous. I think that it could be better if we get a defensive mind such as Robert Saleh, but to say we're going to win the NFC North next year or go to the playoffs is a complete – I'm not going to say that at all. Not at all. Let's see. Who is going to be the Bears quarterback? Okay. Mitch or Nick Foles, Kofi? You getting some Bears questions here.
I think it's all dependent. Like I said, it's all dependent on this game against the Packers. Like if Mitch goes out there and balls out, he gives his heart out and wins the game, I can see him bringing them back.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if he also plays well and they still lose, I could also see them trying to bring him back. But if he just doesn't play well, if he just craps the bed on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers, I could see him leaving for another team. But I think that even though if he does play well, I think we also need to draft a QB just in case he does play well. Give him 1 more year, but also at the same time draft another QB. And evaluate that whole season, see how he performs with our new offensive coordinator, Bill Lazor, because these past 4 weeks, the Bears have been scoring over 30 points. And this is like the first time since 1965 that the Bears have scored 4 30-point games in 4 straight games. Like we've had 34 against the Lions. We had 36 against the Texans, 33 against Minnesota, and 41 against Jacksonville. And so if we score 30, that'll be 5 straight. So I would say give this team 1 more year. If Mitch does play well against the Packers this game, I would say give him 1 more year, sign him to a 1-year extension and evaluate, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Folks, we got 76 in the chat, and we only got 34 thumbs up. Let's get these thumbs up to 50. So let's get 16 more thumbs up. That would be fan-freaking-tastic. And Mars' landing is correct. We have to be patient with the new GM and head coach. We're probably going to lose more than we win, and you got to understand, given the fact that the contracts are high, bad contracts on many players, and the depleted defense, and the potentially of drafting a quarterback, we got to be a little bit patient with this new regime. The new regime Patricia came in with a 9-win team. The Detroit Lions' next head coach and GM are coming with a bad football team. It's a different situation. And James, yes, we've been doing that for 50 years, no doubt about it. Antonio Hightower, what do you say? Do you think we're going to be a bad football team next year? Do you think we need to be patient with the next head coach and GM?
You talking to me? Oh, sorry.
I think see the thing about hello?
Yes, go ahead. We're here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It didn't let my mic was open. I think the Lions finally need to commit to a full-scale rebuild.
Yes.
Right. Finally. And that even includes eventually moving on from Stafford. And you're gonna be losing for a little bit, but the upside is maybe a Super Bowl contender.
Yes, I totally understand what you're saying there. And just like Antonio Hightower says, would you trade Stafford to the Colts, Broncos, Washington, Patriots for draft capital? Depending on the capital, yes. I've been saying that the Indianapolis Colts makes a lot of sense for Matthew Stafford because they would have a late first-round pick, and I think you could get a late first-round pick for him. and maybe something else. It looks like Phillip Rivers, if they're one and done, he's going to retire. He's an AFC player. Play team. It makes a lot of sense there, in my opinion. Kofi, would you trade Stafford away for something like that?
That's kind of tricky because I would give him one more year. Like I would draft a quarterback, and if I were you guys, and then I'll let my quarterback sit for 1 year, learn from Matthew Stafford, kind of like what the Kansas City Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes and with Alex Smith. I'll let my quarterback sit behind for 1 year and see if Matthew Stafford can mentor him and develop him before I could try to trade him. That's the kind of route I would go.
Brett Higgins says, can you imagine being a fan of a team that you would never win? It must be depressing. You want to know what, Brett? This is how I got my day job. I had an interview with the health organization, and they said, how do you deal with adversity? I looked at the room with all the people in there, and I said, I am a Detroit Lions fan. And I think that got me the job. I'm pretty sure I've been there for 5 years now.
Lions fans all know all about adversity.
They're like a whole bunch of memes for Lions fans. It's crazy, man.
Hey, I tell you what, when we do win, it's going to be like the Cubs. It's going to be a great moment in history. And I was so happy for the Cubs. I remember hearing the crowd in the stands singing the song. It's emotional. Yeah. It was emotional.
Man, it was crazy. Like, I mean, if the Cubs could win a World Series, I'm pretty sure the Detroit Lions can win a Super Bowl because it's been over 100 years since the Cubs won. Dude, we were like memes, bro. People used to make fun of us. Even when we were losing, bro, like you see a lot of drunk Cubs fans, they'll still come just because, it's the Cubs, we still love them. Like,
SportsCon gone with a good question. He says, if the Lions do not draft a quarterback or Micah Parsons not there, who would you get? Man, that would be a devastating scenario.
Dang.
That would be devastating because it's quarterback for me or Micah Parsons. To me, he's the best non-quarterback. If Penei Sewell was there, even though he won't be, I would look at Penei Sewell because he would be the guy. After that, it would be rough. I'd trade back. If I can't get a quarterback, Micah Parsons, I'm going to trade back and try to pick up some more capital for this team.
I would draft that Gregory Rousseau guy. That's his name. The Gregory Rousseau, the edge rusher.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would draft him.
I'm done.
Gregory Rousseau. Yeah, like I said, that guy, man, he's a beast, man. You should look him up.
Lions draft him. I'm going to be upset.
Of course you're going to be upset, Antonio Hightower, because you always go with the opposite of what everyone goes with.
He is not that impressive.
We need help on the defensive line.
Yeah, y'all really need help on the defensive
line in this draft. Kwity Paye is better. And he offers more offensive edge, especially if you're talking about from an edge rusher. Because a lot of Gregory Rousseau's damage is from a 3-tech. Or as a nose tackle sometimes I'm passing down.
Hey, I'll take
any type of way you can get pressure,
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Look, our defensive line is depleted beyond belief. But I haven't looked hardcore at all the defensive tackles yet. Not a big-time look, but I wouldn't mind getting a defensive tackle. But for what I've been seeing, there's not like that elite guy, a Derek Brown or anything like that I feel like has extreme high upside. I have to look a little bit more, but that'd be a trade-back scenario, in my opinion. Do you want the Lions to draft Penei Sewell? Well, if he was there, I'd take him. I mean, he's the best offensive lineman we've had in the draft in a long time. But
how long is a long time?
10 years.
Oh, wait. Lane Johnson? Lane Johnson?
I think he's better than Lane Johnson. Yeah.
Wow. I like Penei Sewell, but I think he's kind of overhyped. I think Micah Parsons is kind of overhyped too because the kind of optics on him for a while was like he's the best linebacker prospect since Luke Kuechly. I was like, whoa, let's calm down.
The issue is he has been off for a year. We don't know, how is he really going to physically be like?
But I don't know about that. But Sewell, he's a really good offensive tackle. If you put him in last year's class, maybe he's the best second. Maybe he's the second. I don't know. Depends. The Giants are weird, so we don't know. But Sewell's really nice. I don't know. I'd like to have him just because he's very talented. I disagree that he's the best offensive line talent we've had in years. Tristan Wirfs did come out last year, but he's very talented, and he might be the most talented non-QB. Actually, he might be the most talented player in this draft period.
Well, he definitely is, in my opinion. I mean, you get players from Oregon, just like Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Justin Herbert!
I can't believe the Lions passed up on him. I'm like, come on, man.
I'm an Oregon Duck fan. I am not from the state of Michigan. I am from Oregon. I am an Oregon Duck fan. And I told everybody that this guy is going to be special.
Crazy,
Lions
man.
draft him.
That's insane.
They
ended up getting Okudah.
Look, I think he'll be fine, but man, Herbert's going to be special. Folks, again, you
yeah.
see that hyperlink, that pinned comment, that's Kofi's YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Come on, folks. We got 83 in the building. Subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. 7 away from hitting 50. Do you think the Lions should take a chance and try and get a free agent or trade for a young quarterback like Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen? Thank you so much again, Travis Doyle, for the super chat. God bless you. I really appreciate it. And folks, I want to thank you so much for the funding that you've done. I purchased a new monitor. I got a booster coming and a piece of equipment that's going to help with the channel. I wouldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you so much. Let's see. Look, I think we draft a young quarterback. I'm not going to take a retread. I don't want to take a Sam Darnold on Josh Rosen. He's been Rosen for a reason. This guy's been on many, many teams. I am just going to take Trey Lance. I'll even look at Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. If it's not those three, I want to go Micah Parsons, defense, wide receiver, 4th or 5th round, and call it a day. What say you, Kofi, from being a non-Lions fan? Even, hey, from your perspective, would your team trade for a Sam Darnold or a Josh Rosen?
Nah, Sam Darnold's not that great. Heck no. I think because like with Sam Darnold, it's like he doesn't pick up well on defenses. He can't read defenses that well. He's so raw like right now with his skill set, and even though he's playing on the Jets, at the same time, like you see him missing open wide receivers. He's throwing like these boneheaded picks, and like you don't want that on your team. You're already like, dealing, with Matthew Stafford already, and you don't want to like have another quarterback who's like pretty bad. Like, no, I wouldn't want Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen because they already had their chances, and no. No.
Shout out to Dr. Detroit. He is a member of mine, a huge valued subscriber. I appreciate you. He's not a fan of Okudah, and I get it, man. Especially when you see the players after him. I like Derek Brown. That was my guy if it wasn't Justin Herbert. I like Derek Brown, and we got Jeffrey Okudah, in which I expected them to take Okudah. But still not that great. Let's see here. What about Justin Fields from Ohio State? If we got Urban Meyer in terms of quarterback, who do you guys think would be a good offensive lineman or defensive lineman? If Justin Fields falls to us, I think it's possible. I do think it's possible they could look at him, Antonio Hightower. What say you?
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Hightower? Go ahead,
I don't know
man.
if he's there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you call my name.
Justin Fields.
I think Justin Fields. Here's my thing about Justin Fields. I think he was very overhyped last year. Now people kind of coming back down to earth. He's very talented, but he's not that great as an actual QB. He's played two ranked teams as of that great. We're gonna see how he looks against Clemson. Probably be the best team to go again, unless he actually makes it past them. But if we get him, I think he's the second most talented QB in the draft. It's not really even close. Trevor Lawrence is obviously number one. They're heading. I don't know if he's the second best QB in the class, but he's very talented. I think the Lions should take a chance on trying to develop him. If he falls to them, or depending on the offer, maybe a team wants to move up like 2 picks and go like, hey, we'll take Justin Fields. We'll give you, first and a second. You could probably have a chance to get Trey Lance or and still get Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, whoever's there.
Mhm.
But I would, if we could get him, I'd be fine with it. He's kind of raw, but his physical upside is very impressive.
Folks, we have a super chat here from one of my new favorite YouTube channels. This is On the Warpath. He dropped a $4.99 super chat. God bless. I thank you so much. You got to subscribe to this man's channel. I repeat, you have to subscribe to this man's channel. He's a Washington football team fan. It is so much fun when they do live streams. I am on there every single time laughing my tail off. Subscribe to his channel, and subscribe to his channel. They have a fun time. They always have a big panel there, having a good laugh, always a great listen no matter what. Subscribe to his channel, subscribe to Kofi's channel. Let's get these guys up there. We're definitely going to have On the Warpath on this channel. Hey, we're live next Thursday on the Warpath. If you want in, you are in, no doubt about it. This guy is fun. He is just a fun around guy. You got to hear him talk. You'll see what I'm saying as soon as you listen. Subscribe to his channel. Thank you so much On the Warpath for that super chat. I really do appreciate it, man.
And can I also answer that question about Justin Fields?
Go ahead, man.
I think Justin Fields, he kind of reminds me of like another Cam Newton, because I saw that Northwestern game that he played, and he didn't have that great of a game. Like he's an okay passer, but at times like he can get like real streaky. Like he can have good games where he could throw maybe like 250 to 300 yards at times. But if you like throw like a really good defense, like with Indiana, like Indiana was giving him fits, or like Northwestern, because I think what's his name, the Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald, like he's really good. He's a really good defensive minded head coach, and he kept that game like really close. And Justin Fields did not look really great at all. He did not look great at all. Like he was missing receivers. And granted, like some of those receivers, they weren't getting open, but I don't think like what everybody's saying about Justin Fields, he's not all that, great of a quarterback as, what people are saying about him.
And that's why he's fallen down. I think Zach Wilson surpassed him, in my opinion.
And I'm an Ohio State fan, so like I love Ohio State. I love the Buckeyes, but from what I've seen, from what the tape I've been seeing, is that like when he faces good defenses, it's like he doesn't play that well.
Yeah, you know what? I coveted Chase Young last year extremely well. He was my favorite prospect, came out of Ohio. I was told this guy was overrated. I don't think
he's not overrated.
I think he's the defensive rookie of the year, and he's a disruptor. And on the warpath is one.
Yeah, Chase Young is pretty good.
Chase Young is overrated,
but he is really good.
Yeah, there's a reason why they call him the Predator.
I seen this guy going after the quarterback, coming around the edge. He knew he got beat at that moment, completely stopped in motion, turned his hips, and hit the quarterback. I've never seen anything like that before.
And the guy is so strong, man. He reminds me of Khalil Mack, actually. The way he beats his blocks, and the way like he just like beats his offensive lineman. Like he's so strong that he's able to get around the edge just like that and move offensive linemen, just freaking sack them.
Okay, we got Vikings Jerome. What's going on, Viking Jerome? Hey, welcome. He says Lions should have never fired Jim Caldwell. It definitely was, when we fired him, we definitely hired the wrong guy. From a Chicago Bears fan perspective, what do you think of Jim Caldwell looking outside, looking in on our franchise?
I know with the Lions, like of course, like with Jim Caldwell, he was a great coach, and that's kind of like the same way like with Lovie Smith. Like he led us to a 10-6 season, and then the next year he got fired. But with I don't know, like with the way the Lions fired Jim Caldwell, I felt like they should just give him another chance, because like when was the last time like the Lions had a really good winning season like that, and then he takes you to the playoffs? Because I know like with us fans, we expect more. Like we want to expect more. We want our teams to win. know, and like sometimes we kind of put pressure on the ownership sometimes, and like sometimes when we put pressure on the ownership, sometimes it can be a cursing in disguise because I don't know, like a lot of these people, like with I'll say with our fandom, like a lot of people want Matt Nagy to be gone
Yeah.
because like he already led us to I mean if we win this game, that's 3 seasons already where he led our team to a winning season. Like we went 12-4 we went 12-4 and we won the NFC Championship, and then the next year we went 8-8. And then this year, we might go 8-8 or 9-7, depending on what the game is. So that's 3 years without a losing season. And so, I mean, I think Matt Nagy, he's a good head coach, but he's not a good offensive coordinator. He's a good leader of men, but I don't think he should be fired. It's like the same thing with Jim Caldwell. Like he was a good head coach. He took the Colts to the Super Bowl in 2009. Granted, it was Peyton Manning. But I felt like with Jim Caldwell, they should have gave him another chance. And if, they went the next year without a losing season, I could see that. But, yeah.
On the WordPass says I'm a game. I appreciate you, MicroMike. Well, I can't wait to see you next Thursday. You just heard it here on the Warpath. I've been talking about this guy's channel. I can't wait to introduce you to him to the YouTube world, at least from my perspective. We'll see. Are they in the playoffs or the Bears are going to be in the playoffs?
Hopefully, man. We got to beat the Packers. We got to beat the Packers, man. I hate the Packers, bro. I
hate the Packers so much. They're the number one team I dislike.
Did you hear what Aaron Rodgers said on what's his name's podcast? Was it Pat McAfee?
Okay, what did he say?
Pat McAfee asked him a question. What is your favorite place to play besides Lambeau Field? And guess what his answer was?
Chicago?
Yes, he says Soldier Field.
Oh, man.
And when I heard that, I'm like, what? Because, like, he's had so much success at Soldier Field. And when I heard that, I was so angry, bro. And even that offensive tackle, David Bakhtiari, he said, I like to beat the cat piss out of the Bears. And so we got to play with pride. Like, I want this defensive team, like I want the defense to come out and smash mouth them. I just want to beat the Packers. I'm so sick and tired of losing to Aaron Rodgers. I'm so sick of it.
Like, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Jacob says, MicroMike, when do you guys think the Lions will win a playoff game or a Super Bowl if they can do it for the Ford Steel Horse of the team? I've been a Lions fan my whole life. Well, it ain't going to happen this year. It's probably not going to happen next year. Maybe in a couple of years we can get back to the playoffs. Antonio Hightower, do you think it's going to take a couple of years?
To win the Super Bowl, definitely. If the Lions' goal is to ever win a Super Bowl, they should have went into a full-scale rebuild for years. Now, a lot of people say the Lions have been rebuilding for years, but I would say the Lions have been actually trying to commit to a full rebuild because the Lions always midway through it like, well, we could be a playoff team. Mm-hmm. Just commit to a full-scale rebuild, and maybe you could get there.
Travis Doyle dropping another super chat. God bless you. I really appreciate it. It says, who would you want the Lions to sign a free agency to help out the team? I'd love Hassan Reddick. Oh, Dominic Sue, if they were there in free agency. Hassan Reddick, if we could get Hassan Reddick, oh my God. He is
Hassan Reddick's been good. My gosh.
Devontae David, he's a free agent as well. That would be sick.
I think Hassan Reddick, he has like 10 sacks, right?
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. He's been balling out in Arizona.
They can't let that guy go. There ain't no way they can let that guy go.
No way. They're not going to let him go.
Matter of fact, I hope the Lions beat the Vikings Sunday. No, it's the battle of the teams that want the better draft spot. So it's Vikings, Jerome versus MicroMike. What team can lose? What team
It's the battle of the tanks.
Yeah, battle.
Battle of the tanks.
What team
Super tank
there?
Instead of Super Bowl, Super Tank.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I want the Packers to go down so bad.
Dude, I want the Packers to lose. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, bro. Like I do not like him. I don't.
I can't stand that guy.
I can't stand that guy, man. You know how many times, like every time, like he throws a touchdown pass, he's always smirking. Like, yeah, I got this team.
You know what I can't stand? When he's laying on the ground and he's looking at the referee. Where's the
Exactly.
Every time.
I want to blow these. I want to blow them out so bad. I don't want to. I don't want it to be a close game. I want to blow them out.
It's hard to cheer for a Chicago team. It really is, but I can cheer against the Green Bay team.
Dude, if it was an NFC Championship team between Detroit and Green Bay, I would want Detroit to go.
Yeah, I know. I can't stand that.
That's how much I do not like the Crackers. I don't even like their fans too. They're annoying.
Oh my God, folks! We have been on for nearly an hour and 15 minutes, and the show is coming to an end. So from here, I do last words. And I appreciate everybody in here. Antonio Hightower, what do you got to say to the chat while we close this bad boy out?
What I got to say is, what's the first thing I got to say? Jim Caldwell's fired for a reason. The Lions need to finally commit to a rebuild. And, dear God, do not take Gregory Rousseau.
Monterey Moore, he is a Lions YouTuber. What's going on, Monterey Moore? He's the realest Detroit Lion next to Mars Landing. Make sure you subscribe to both of them because they both do content. Monterey Moore, I love this guy. Subscribe to him. He's an OG of the Lions YouTube game. Mondo Ray Moore, he's a beast, man. Great show. Hey, I like this Bears guy. So do I. He's a very nice guy. You know where I found him from, folks? You want to know? The Ghost of Judah Tribe.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not like the Ghost of Judah Tribe. That guy, he's crazy.
Hey, he's my buddy though. I like him. Like, yeah, we go way back. I got no beef with this guy. But we'll close this bad boy out. Kofi, what do you got to say to the chat? Tell them about your channel, what you're going to be doing, so they can subscribe to it.
Yeah, so like basically with my channel, I'm going to be making not only like Bears content, but I'm going to be making like pretty much everything, like Chicago content, mostly Chicago, but I'm just going to be mostly talking about sports. I'm going to be covering like NBA content, NFL content, pretty much every sports. Besides, I don't really talk about hockey that much, but like I'm going to be covering pretty much every sports aspect. But yeah, just go out and check out my channel. I'm gonna change it to KO Sports because you know that's my initials, and I like to lay a knockout on my sports. But yeah, just go out and check out my channel, subscribe, shoot a like button and everything. And yeah, guys, I hope you guys also have a happy New Year. And yeah, just stay safe. I know this coronavirus is crazy too. But yeah, just make sure you guys stay safe and yeah, just subscribe. I know 2021 is going to be a good new year. So yeah.
Absolutely. 2021 can't be worse than this last 2020. Again, make sure you subscribe to Kofi there, KO Sports Talk. That's what's going to be. He is a fellow buddy of mine. And if you've not hit that like button, we're 3 away from 50, folks. 3 likes away from 50. Hit that like button. Help bring the content out. And I appreciate everybody showing out. We got one more game left, folks, if you're a Lions fan. If you're not, you possibly have more. But we got a live stream going on. It's Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. Live watch party on my channel on Sunday. It's the final live watch party of the year. Make sure you are there. Have some fun. With that said, folks, adios.